Okay. Okay. Good morning. Sorry for the awkward start here. But this is the Dash admin training. I'm having a slight audio delay, so forgive me for how I sound. But this is the login page for at dash.virtualpbx.com. And there we go. So your login is your email address. Oops. And it looks like I messed up here, so let me restart that here. And that should be loading up shortly for y'all. See if I typed in everything right. Nope, I did not. Okay. Let us Try that again. So one thing about the Dash login is if the first time you log in, your browser capitalizes the first letter of your first name, you want to go back and make sure you change that to be lowercase. But once you have it all in properly, you can click on Remember Me, so that way you don't have to keep typing it in. Or you can click on Forgot Your Info. If you ever forget your information, fill out the form, and then the system will basically reset your password and give you steps on how to change it. And then once you get logged in, you'll see this. Now, the first time you log in, you actually won't see this immediate screen. What instead you'll see is your account information. So it'll give you your user information. And this is where you can change like your time zone, etc. And you also have your account information, which is probably where you would want to change your time zone for the whole account. So if you're not on the U.S. West Coast, it would make good sense to change that. But once you close that, then you're here on the dashboard. So on this page, you can see your total users, in this case 22. Then you have number of devices and a breakdown of the kinds of devices. So a soft phone is a software application that acts like a phone. This can be on a computer, which is what it was originally designed for, but you can also use it on a cell phone because most of those are now decently powered computers compared to the old days. Cell phone, pretty self-explanatory. A web phone is a web-based phone, right? So basically you can use Chrome or Firefox, and you can make and receive calls from your computer's browser instead of using a software application. The web phone is actually free as part of your Dash account, so no harm in getting that. SIP phone is a VoIP phone. SIP is a particular type of VoIP phone. So if you're going to go buy your own, you want to make sure it says it is a SIP phone. That's Sierra Indigo Papa. And then you've got landline and a couple other options here. Down below, you've got your total numbers. Assigned to numbers, these are numbers you're using, so they go someplace, whether they're one of your main numbers or they're going directly to a user, a ring group, etc. Spare numbers, these are numbers you are paying for, but they're not currently in use. And then down below that, you got a breakdown of U.S. DID, means U.S. local numbers, and then U.S. toll-free numbers, at least on this account. You could also have international numbers listed as well. To the right, you've got your main numbers, right? So these three numbers are my primary phone numbers on this account. These numbers will all behave the same way. So they'll have the same main greeting, and they'll route to the same location. Down below that, I've got my conference numbers. So basically, I'm making use of the conference bridge. Then you have a fax box number, so this allows you to receive phone numbers. And then my company director says here I have 22 users, and I can download this if I want to. Now, I don't have to have every user be in the user directory if I don't want to. That's actually handled on the users page. Up here, we've got the caller ID. So you can select one of your main numbers, and then you would click on Save Changes. And so this is from any of your VoIP devices. When they call out, that's the default number that will be the number that shows up as the caller ID. Hold music. On Dash, hold music is after a call has connected. So call comes into your system, they're either going to hear ringing or they're going to hear some kind of greeting, right? So they call in on your main number, they're going to hear your greeting, say they press an extension number. They'll continue to hear ringing until that person picks up. Now, when your staff member presses hold on their phone, this is the default hold music that will play. Hold music is .wav or .mp3. You want to make sure it's recorded in mono, not in stereo, and you want to keep it under 1 megabyte in size. A 1 megabyte MP3 is roughly 5 minutes. And you can click Upload here, find the file on your computer, and then click this little icon here, and then click Save Changes. And then we go into hours, which is, as you can tell over there on the left, part of the main number sequence or series of features. All right. So by default, new accounts are set to 24-hour open office. This one is set with custom office hours. So each day of the week that I'm open, I put a check mark in front of it. And then in the boxes to the right, I enter in my open hours. And they're a pop-down or pop-up menu, so you can find the correct time. Just be aware that this is set in military or 24-hour time. Now, if you notice on that first page, on the main dashboard page, it was giving me a message saying about my E911, and you can set that over here. Just find the number, click on the gear icon, select 911, and so put the address, click Save. And then if I go back to the dashboard main page, that error message is now missing or gone. Let's go back to main number now. All right, so that was office hour strategy and E911. You can set your office holidays. So if you're closed for holidays, you put a check mark saying, yes, you're closed. Over here to the right, you can add a holiday. So you have a choice of single day, date range, or advanced. Right, so single day, like we have right here for President's Day, you give it a name, you put the month and the date. Notice there's no year indicator. So after that holiday goes by, you probably want to change the date, but you do want to be aware of, say, like if you came in on the Tuesday after President's Day, normally the holiday skips to the next calendar day. You don't want to switch it on Tuesday. You basically want to switch it on Wednesday, and that way you're not putting yourself closed an extra day in a row. Right, date range, what we have here for Christmas, so December 23rd to the 26th. System just says, hey, you're on holiday for these 3 days automatically. Now, one thing to be aware of is because there's no year indicator, you want to avoid a date range that includes New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Basically just puts you in holiday mode all year. And then advanced, we can go ahead and just add one here. Where are we? Oh, it's not letting me select. So basically what you can do Oh, here. Basically, you can select a month, a particular day of the week, and then which, like the first Monday of a month or the second Monday of a particular month, and the system will have you closed on those days. And then save any changes you make. Now we get to the big one, incoming call handling. This is how your system is handling calls from the main numbers specifically, right? So you've got these sub-tabs here, your open hours, so how's it going to handle calls when you're open, versus how are you handling calls when you're if you're closed for lunch. Again, you can have a different way of handling it for when you're after hours, and then lastly, for when you're on holidays. All right. So this first option here, call comes in, it's going to your virtual receptionist. If you click on the link here for virtual receptionist, it should pop open a new window. On the left-hand side, this is your main menu. You would click on an add route, and this, I don't know why the pull down isn't working, but basically you can select 0 through 9. This is what people press on their phones, and then you tell them where to go. And the options of where to go, that can be to a specific person. You can have it go to a ring group. You can have it go to an ACD queue if you're choosing to use that. You can have it actually go to a specific device if you want. So Bob's cell phone, if you really wanted to. You can have it display a media file. And then over here to the right, you've got your greeting options. So you have your text-to-speech. Basically, you type it in. You click update, and then save. And then actually you have to save changes after this, and then it's ready to go. If you have your own file, you can upload one, .wav, .mp3, recorded in mono, just under 1 megabyte. If you already have recordings on the account, you'll have a pull-down menu there. You can record it over the phone. Now this is assuming you have a VoIP phone on the account. You can call into your main number from that phone. If you don't have any greeting in place, it'll prompt you to record a greeting and enter in a PIN number. If you already have a greeting in place, then when the greeting that's there plays, you can hit your PIN number and record over the phone. One caveat for that, though. If there's already a greeting in place and you record over the phone, that recording overwrites the recording that was there. So you say you had the greeting, May 2020 in place, and then you called in to record over the phone. Whatever you record on the phone has that new file name of May 2020, and whatever was originally May 2020 is gone. So just keep that in mind. And then you have professional recording services. We've partnered with another company called Snap Recordings. They have their own pricing and packages. They have something like 100 voice actors to choose from. They have different versions of English. They have a couple different versions of Spanish and French. They can do multilingual, so they can do multilingual greetings for you if you want. They also have packages for a hold treatment, so music file and a script, right, back and forth. You order with them, you pay them directly, then they send you the file, and then you upload. Down below that, we have the setting here, number of retries on misdial. Basically, how many times you're allowing your inbound caller to hit an invalid menu option, right? So you have 1 through 5 set, and they keep hitting 7 for whatever reasons. Now, you can have it set, so in this setup right here, if they messed up one time, right, so then the call would be disconnected. Now, you can choose to have what's called a default route, which would then, and then you choose where that goes. So after that last mistry, the person would be sent onto that default route, whether that's to a voicemail box or what have you. Now, if you make any changes, right, so either under your main menu or your greetings, you have to click Save here. And I can't scroll down. There's another Save Changes button over here that you would also need to click on. All right, the second option here, this is a call that's coming into a group or to a user, to Bob. And you can't see everything else that you have. Oh, here we go. You can scroll down. We've got call queues. We have devices. Probably have ring groups down here somewhere as well, etc. So basically, what this is you're giving someone or a group of people an option to get the call first. If they can't answer the call, then it goes to the virtual receptionist, and it's the same kind of settings under the first option here. And its third option here, again, you can extend it to a user, to a group, to a device, etc. Again, you're giving someone a chance to answer the call, but if they're not able to pick up, you're sending it to voicemail. Now, on this last option, I know specifically when you're sending it to a user or a group, it's hard-coded to only ring for 20 seconds. And then after that, it goes into that next action, or going to the voicemail box. Now, 20 seconds for a VoIP phone, usually plenty of time. Usually the same would hold true for a landline. But on a cell phone, right, so if you're sending calls to a cell phone, 20 seconds may not be enough time. Right? It simply takes longer to route a call to a cell phone because every time you get a call on your cell phone, your cell provider has to find you. Right? So it'll bounce the signal off of the cell towers to get to you. And that just takes a little bit extra time sometimes. Right? So like on Monday, it could work fine. And then by Thursday, you're missing calls because there's more call traffic for whatever reasons, or they're having a maintenance issue. And then you can set each one of these subtabs differently, right? So you can have a different greetings. You can have different routing options. Right. Your main conference number, or conference numbers in this case. Basically, this is what people can dial into to get your conference bridges. You do have to make sure you set up your users to have the conference bridge feature set up so that they can host the conference. Custom greeting is only text-to-speech right now. I know we've had a feature request for more options to upload, your own file. You can always add additional numbers from spare numbers, or you can buy numbers if you don't have any spare numbers. Your main fax box number, again, you can assign a number. And let's see if this will come up. Nope. So normally, when you click Edit Fax Box, you can enter in an email address. So that's when incoming faxes come in to your fax box. That email address you input gets the file, PDF. There's a second box for your email domain. So if your company owns your own email domain, right, you can put the @ symbol and then your domain, and then anyone who has that email domain can send a fax out. They don't have to be a user on your account. And that's because we make use of email to fax. So when you're sending out a fax, you just create an email. In the to field, it's going to be the plus sign, the number 1, and then the area code and phone number you're faxing to, followed by the @ symbol, and then your account realm, which you would find when you click up here on your name and click on the account. And that's, in this case, right here. All right. Moving on to numbers. These are all the numbers on your account. If they're red, that means they're actually not on your account yet. These were porting samples. These black ones here are on the account, and then they tell you where they're going and what features you've enabled. Spare numbers, these are numbers, again, on your account. They're not going anywhere, but you're still going to be charged for them. Usually this means that you're keeping them because you got a block of numbers and you're like, oh, we're not using them all yet, or you're saving them for a particular campaign. or from a previous campaign that you may bring back again later. Up here, you can buy numbers. So local, that basically means a local area code, so non-toll free. We'll just do Las Vegas, do a search, and looks like there's nothing coming up here. Oops. Let's do toll free. All right, so when you have a numbers available, you just click on add to any of the numbers you want, and then you can click on buy numbers. Then it'll activate the numbers and put it under your spare numbers. Port a number. This means you're moving a number from another carrier to VirtualPBX. Right, so from AT&T to VirtualPBX. You click on this, it'll start you on the process. Basically what we need is a recent copy of your bill from your current carrier, and then a filled out letter of agency, or LOA. The form that LOA is downloadable when you click on the port request link. It's also on our website. You need to fill that out so that it matches what your current carrier has on file. Right, so whatever name they have associated with that phone number, whatever address they have associated with that phone number, that all needs to be on the LOA. That can be different with what we have on file for you. That's fine. But basically, we get that documentation from you. We submit the port request. Your other carrier, hopefully say, yes, all that matches up. Here's your release date. That's when we get the port. We let you know what's going on. So like we say, hey, you've been submitted, or hey, here we got an estimated port completion date, etc. Now, if there's any discrepancy on the information, the other carrier will say, hey, there's like address mismatch or authorized user mismatch, or they'll give us some indication of what the error is. We will pass that information on to you. At that point, you need to verify with your current carrier what the correct information should be, or if they have a discrepancy, they didn't update a database properly or something, whatever. But basically, normally we need something called like a customer service record or phone service record. But basically some indication, hey, here's the correct information, and then we resubmit the port request. Port requests for toll-free numbers takes roughly 3 business days, give or take. Local numbers, they can range anywhere. The fastest I've seen one go through is 1 day. That's very rare. Longest is, we say, is about 6 weeks. The average tends to be about 1 week, 1 to 2 weeks. All right, users. Shows all the users on the account. See their names, their extensions. If they have a phone number that goes directly to them, their devices, and their features. Adding a user is up here at the top. You give them, you put in their name, their email address. Now each user for their login has to have a unique email address, right? So if you have 5 people who make use of support@virtualpbx.com, well, you can only use that email address for 1 user, right? And if you wanted each of these people to be an individual user, you could do something like support 1, support 2. They're not legit yet on your account, on your email server or what have you, but at least the people could log in. The downside is they're not going to get like their password reset emails or even their voicemail notifications unless they do some additional work. Now, then you create a password for them. Probably want to create one that's initially, I guess, it's up to them, but basically the user at some point should make a fairly difficult password to get into, or strong password. Main extension number. So I started this account with extension 1000. The next available extension is 1008, meaning I probably deleted that person at one point. But you can change that to be like 2500 if I wanted to. By default, this checkbox here is enabled. Basically, it creates a voicemail box for this user, meaning that voicemail box is tied intrinsically with this user that you're creating. That's handy for them to have voicemail notification on their phone, for example. The other one I say that you really want to do is this bottom one here, send credentials to the user, i.e., so they know how to log in. And then in the middle here, we've got include in the company directory. If you put check mark, they're in it. If you don't check it, they're not. And then you can either hit create user, meaning this is the only one you're creating, or create user and add another. Basically, it says complete this one and sends you on to the next. All right. So we'll click on Bob here for the time being. All right. So here we've got your profile information for your user. Excuse me, you can always change the name. As an admin, you can change their credentials, meaning you can change their email address or their password. And right here, there's a link you can just send them for the password reset. This is the PIN number or the voicemail box set up with this user. I can change the PIN. Now, for users that have VoIP phones, you don't have to include a voicemail box PIN because all they have to do is pick up their VoIP phone and click on either the voicemail button or *97, and then the system will prompt them once they enter their extension number. This box here, send to alternate email addresses. So this would be in addition to the email address right here, right? So you can add Bob's home email address in case he wants to get his voicemail sent to his home address as well as his work email address. Then here, again, you have the option to take him out of the user directory if you want. Over here, this drop-down, you have the option of making someone by default, when you add someone, they're a user. This drop-down also has the ability to make someone else an admin, so they would have the same functions that we're going over now. Time zone, you can set what time zone they're in. Language, you have French, English, Russian, I think German as well. Ringing timeout, this is how much time by default the system will ring to the devices that the user has. In this case, 45 seconds, which means Bob would probably, which is good for like if you have a cell phone. Main extension number, this is basically that extension number that is associated with this user. And then caller ID privacy. Next up, we've got extensions. A user can have multiple extensions. Phone number, if you want a user to have their own phone number, you can either add from your spare numbers or buy a new number. And basically this means the number goes directly to Bob. It doesn't go through your virtual receptionist. Devices, this is where you can add devices. If you have extra devices on the account, that's what spare devices would mean. Or you can add a new device. SIP phone, yeah, that's a VoIP phone. If you have one of these manufacturers, you would find the phone, and then you would enter in the MAC address and a name for the phone. Now, as far as on Dash, that's all that Dash needs. On the phone itself, you would need to log into the phone and enter in basically URL so that the phone would then connect to us properly to get its configuration information, and then it would be auto-provisioned. There's actually a specific guide on our website on how to do that. And usually your phone's manual will also have some information along those lines. Cell phone and landline are basically the same. It's give the device a name, and then you put +1, area code, and phone number. And then you click on Create Device. Soft phone, you're going to want to read this. That's basically just information about E911. And then you give it a device name, and then you have this information. Now, this information here is what you would need to program a soft phone from another company. Right? So you're using Xlite from Counterpath. Right? That's one of their soft phone applications. If you're going to use that, this is what you would use to program that application. If you're using a soft phone from us, you can click right here where it's grayed out. It says use VirtualPBX application, and you just give it a device name. Click on create device. This creates the device on the user directly, and then the system will automatically email your user their login information for that soft phone. Web phone, again, you need to do this specifically on a user. You just give it a name and click on create device. The web phone uses the same login information as your Dash login. All right. Actually, let's. All right. User features, caller ID number. This comes into play for your users who have their own phone number. They can choose, if you enable this, that means their caller ID will be their phone number versus your main company number, for example. Call forwarding, this is for VoIP phone users. Typically, by default, it's off. If you turn it on, that means you know you're going to be away, the user's going to be away from their desk. And then they can say forward to a mobile number. They put this number in. So the system says, hey, call is coming into this user. I'm sending it off to this other device. Now, this other device should not be a device on the user itself, right? So the user can have whatever VoIP phones, web phones, whatever, but if I'm sending it to this mobile phone should not be a device I put on this user. And then you also have failover mode, meaning your VoIP phone is not connected to us. It lost internet connection, it died, whatever. The system will detect that, hey, it's not connected to us anymore. Calls coming into the user get sent automatically to the cell phone number. Hot desking, this is another VoIP phone user feature. This is actually when you're in a shared office environment where your staff may be at different desks and thus at different phones every day. So you would give them a hot desk ID. I usually say just match it to their extension number. And you can choose to give them a PIN number or not. But basically, they come into the office on Tuesday and they're sitting at desk 7 and they can go to that phone. They pick up the VoIP phone, hit *11, and that will enable hot desking. It'll ask them for the hot desk ID. You enter that. And then what basically says you've logged in the phone, meaning calls that come to your user will go to the phone that you're sitting at. End of your day, you hit *12 to turn off hot desking. Wednesday, you come in, you're sitting at desk 38. Do the same thing. You just pick up the phone, hit *11, enter in your hot desk ID, and now calls are coming to you at that phone. Voicemail box, again, this user was created with a voicemail box, so they have voicemail enabled. And then you also have to choose voicemail to email, meaning they get an attachment. Users can have their own fax boxes. And then you either select a number. You can also have it go through an extension. I usually recommend people to make use of a phone number. That's probably because I'm old enough and I had a job where I did do quite a bit of faxing when I was younger. So I go to the old fax machine, scan in the document, enter the number, hit, send fax and walk away, or go to the next fax machine. So in my mind, faxing is send the number, hit send fax, move on. You don't listen for anything. If you choose to have an extension, right, so instead of selecting a number, assign a new extension, right, what happens is your person faxing into you has to call your main number, listen for the greeting, enter in the extension number that you select, and then they hit send fax. Right? And that's also, that kind of iteration is not convenient for like a lot of virtual fax services, right? They just send a fax off to a number. Conference bridge. First, you enable it. It shows you your conference numbers. You enter your conference room number, and then you can also set in their PIN. Click on Save Changes. All right, follow me. This is if you have multiple devices. And here you see the ring duration is 120. I have use of a web phone and a soft phone. I have these other two devices that I am not making use of right now, but if I wanted to, I can simply add one. I can click distribute here, so now it's going to ring them in sequence. If I wanted to, I can change the order, redistribute. I can also adjust these sliders how I want. So if I wanted to, right, I could do something like this. So all of them are ringing for the whole time until I pick up on one of the phones. All right, music on hold. Your users can have customized music on hold, so they can each have different files if you want. Again, .mp3, .wav, in mono, under 1 megabyte. And you should. All right, customized call recording. So call recording is a feature on Dash. If you enable it, by default, everything starts off like this. Account defaults off. All right, so inbound and internal means a call coming into this user from within the company or within Dash, right? So someone else on the, like my coworker Bob called me. If I turn this on, I'm recording it. Now, if I decide to call Bob back, if I turn this on, that means it would be recorded. Or I can say, no, I don't want those recorded. Right, now outbound, internal. Oh, I'm sorry. They changed the order on me. Inbound, external. Customers calling me. Record on or off, right? Then outbound, internal means I'm calling my coworker Bob. And then outbound, external, excuse me, gosh, I'm really messing that up, meaning I'm calling a customer back. And then you click on Save Changes. And then you have an option here to Do Not Disturb, meaning, hey, this person is not around, to send the callers to voicemail. All right, let's go to Groups. Groups is short for ring groups. Basically means a department or a group of people who answer calls about a similar topic. All right, creating a group is you give it a name, you give it an extension, and then you click and drag who you want in the group, and then you click on Create Group. Once you do that, you click on the name. You can always change the name. And then you have dialing repeats. Got little arrows here to the right that are pretty hard to see. But basically, how many times can the inbound caller go through the group? So in this case, I'm letting the caller go through twice, meaning my staff have two opportunities to answer the call. All right. Members, it shows the people that I clicked and dragged. Again, you've got a ring duration here of 120 seconds. I decided to distribute them. Again, I can change the order and then hit redistribute. And again, you can always do something like this so that it rings everybody the whole time. Now, one thing to know about calls that come into a group. So, call comes in and David answers, right? And then a second call comes in. In this kind of setup, he's going to hear a call waiting beep on his side. The customer won't, but he will, until one of his coworkers here picks up that call. So something to keep in mind. A group can have an extension, right? So basically, so other staff members can transfer calls to that group. Can have its own phone number, meaning calls go directly to that group, not going in through the ring group or through the virtual receptionist. And then we've got group features. Ringback, this is essentially hold music for the group, meaning what file is going to play until one of your staff member picks up. .wave, .mp3, recorded in mono, under 1 megabyte. Next action, if your staff members aren't able to pick up after the dialing repeats, then what do you want to do? You can send it to a main menu, or you can send it to a particular voicemail box. Click Save Changes. Allow call forward. This is for your VoIP phone users. If you enable this, they can make use of call forwarding to their cell phones. And then caller ID prepend, again, this is also for your VoIP phone users. You can add additional text or numbers on the caller ID that's displayed on their phone to let them know what the call is about. It's only going to work on VoIP phones, however. All right, devices. Shows all the devices on the account. You can add devices up here, although you don't want to add the VirtualPBX soft phone or the web phone here, because you want to get those directly tied to the user. You can disable device, and that means it turns black. Red means it's not connected, which is normally for green means, as far as we know, it's working. In case of cell phones, for a VoIP device, we would know, right, because it has an active connection with us. Voicemail boxes, you can see all the voicemail boxes on the account. You can manually create one. And if you click on the little wrench icon, again, you can change the name, the box number, or the PIN. Greeting media, you can upload a greeting file to any voicemail box. Right? .wave, .mp3, 1 megabyte in mono. The temporary voicemail greeting is for like vacation. Like, hey, I'm going to be out from here to here, and then you change it back to none when they're back, and then the default media file will play again. Recipients, you can add people who are on it. This is especially true for manually created voicemail boxes, so you want to make sure someone gets notification that, hey, voicemail got here. And then options. So once you have a greeting uploaded and the recipient set, then as I said, you might as well put in already set up. You can choose to require a PIN number. Normally, I would say yes. And then the other thing is this one here, delete after notification. So voicemail box can hold up to 100 voicemails. And then after that, anyone trying to leave a message gets a message saying, hey, the voicemail box is filled, try again later. If you have it set to delete after notification, basically the system will email whoever the recipients are with the file and then delete the voicemail, so then you don't have to worry about it ever getting to the account limit. The greetings manager, this is actually relatively new. These are all the greetings on the account. You can download them so you can listen to them to see if they're still relevant or if you want to keep them. You can edit them so you can change the name. So in this case, it'd be something maybe a little more descriptive or easier to understand, or you can just get rid of it completely. Call logs shows all the call activity on the account. I don't know that there's too much on this one. There we go. Green arrow to the right, that means an incoming call. You can click on it and just to see what else is going on with the call or who it was going to. And then you got this orange or yellow arrow going to the left. It's an outbound call. Normally, you do want to see them to say normal clearing, meaning that as far as the system is concerned, call ended normally. feature codes. So these are this is the VoIP phone features, but basically key commands from the VoIP phone, so they can log into call queues. They can set up their own call forwarding, get in hot desking, etc. So that's it for the dashboard. However, as admins, you have some other options here. So we're right here on dashboards. Next is blacklists. So blacklist is, you would click on edit blacklist, basically allows you to create a list of phone numbers that you are blocking. Right, so I've added these 2 phone numbers here previously. I click save, and I can always add an additional one. I go back to settings, and then I click and drag the list over into selected and click update. And now once that happens, whenever those phone numbers call, any of my numbers, they get a busy tone. The monitor lets you see the activity or what your staff is doing essentially. Green meaning they're waiting for a call. Blue means they're on an inbound call. Red means they're marked away. There's yellow is they're on an external call, and then gold is they're on wrap-up time, meaning they were in an ACD queue. As an admin, you can get to any voicemail box on the account. Right, you can check mark to get rid of it, listen to it, etc. This is actually new, basically allowing connection to AWS for greater storage. Webhooks basically make use of APIs to link directly into Dash. ACD queues. So we have ACD queues, which is our standard product, and then we have ACD queues Pro. Pro being slightly more advanced. But basically, you can click on Add a Queue, and we'll go in here to the settings. You give it a name. You give it a phone number or an extension. It's one or the other. Routing strategies. Oh, I'm not going to show them all here. So this is on most idle, meaning whoever's been waiting around for the call the longest gets the next call that comes in. There is least calls, meaning the least amount of connected calls, right? So Bob has talked to 5 people. Mary has talked to 2. The next call that comes in goes to Mary. Least offered means who's been offered the least amount of calls. So maybe Bob's been only offered 6 calls. Mary's been offered 20 calls. Next call comes in and goes to Bob. And then there's round robin, which is essentially random. All right, hold music or hold treatment. You can upload a file, .wav.mp3 in mono under 1 megabyte. Queue timeout measured in seconds, how long your inbound callers can wait on hold. Your queue call limit, how many you can limit the number of calls that are in the queue. 0 meaning there's no limit. Timeout immediately if empty means you have no agents logged in. Kick in your timeout rules, which is either you can send it to an escalation queue, meaning you're sending it to a second queue, or if you have it set to none, in this case, then it goes right into this voicemail box. Agent recovery time in seconds, basically how much time after a call before agent is offered a second call. Force away on rejected or missed. If an agent refuses a call or misses a call, the system will automatically put them in away mode. It will eventually revert them back into ready mode after like a minute. And an agent can manually put themselves back in ready mode if they realize this has happened. And then agent connect timeout means how much time are you trying to reach that agent. So ringing the agent for 20 seconds. One thing to keep in mind about the ACD queues, they start at $15 per month. although different plans have slightly different pricing. I believe some plans have them down to like $10 a month or $9.99, something like that. So you should either check with your plan, or you can double check with our account services or billing teams to verify what that charge would be. Oh, this little icon here is your agents. This is how you manage your agents. You click Manage Members. So these are all your users. These are the people specific to queues. Hold on a minute. But then on the individual queue is where you would add either agents that are available, or you can also add agent managers, right? So these people have so they have to be in the queue, and then you can make them a manager. All right. Faxes, again, as an admin, you can get to any fax box on the account. So if you have someone who's having problems with faxes, but you can see the inbound and outbound. The email to fax logs, this will tell you what kind of errors people are getting if they're having trouble faxing out. User portal, this is what your standard users have access to. And obviously as an admin you can do, so they can check their voicemails. Now, if you have delete out of notification, you're never going to have voicemails here. You have your call history, so you can see what calls have come in and gone out. Your fax list. Contact list, these are basically the extensions and users on the account. Conference, this is how a user would manage their own conferences. This, by the way, is the moderator pin, so this is what they would use to log in as a moderator versus as a participant. You can invite people on the account into your conference. You can lock a conference. You can mute everybody. You can unmute everybody, and you can end the call. Also, when you have participants, you can actually mute a specific participant or kick a particular participant as well. And then settings and devices. This is where they can also set up their call forwarding if they want to. And they can see their devices available. Reports, I don't know if this is live yet or not. Looks like not. And then call recording, this goes to AWS to view your call recordings. And that is everything I have for today. Again, I apologize for the rough start. We'll be getting back to this normally, and we'll be adding a bit about ACDQ pros in future sessions. As some of these other options come up, we'll have, I guess, longer presentations about this. Feel free to view this recording later or any of the previous other trainings we've had. But beyond that, I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.